Knowledge Biology. This will be our third and final cell type video. We're going to discuss some of the advantages of eukaryotes, the advantages of prokaryotes and archaea, and then some info about viruses, and then we're going to talk about relative size. So, eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Now, if we look at this, it seems like eukaryotes have all the advantage because we have all these sweet organelles, and that does give eukaryotes an advantage in efficiency. Over here, a lot of the responsibilities of the cell that are necessary, such as breaking down glucose and getting the energy to make ATP. You've got to have ATP to do these chemical reactions that we need to keep going. And we've got mitochondria that do it in eukaryotes, but bacteria don't. They have to do that in their cell membrane. Well, what is that? What's the consequence of that? Well, one, the eukaryotes are more efficient. If you give one glucose molecule to a eukaryote, they will get more ATP out of it than a bacteria will. So efficiency, great. We don't have to work as hard. What is the downside? Well, evolutionarily, bacteria have this flexibility that we don't have. We are locked into the mitochondria. We must operate within the restrictions of the mitochondria. Do you know what that means? That means we need oxygen, absolutely, completely. If we don't have oxygen, we die, period, end of story, because mitochondria can only do what they do with oxygen. Bacteria, not so much. There are lots of bacteria that don't need oxygen at all. There's some bacteria that can use oxygen or they cannot use oxygen. So the world of bacteria has a lot more flexibility, and this is true of archaea too. The world of those organisms are more flexible, so they sacrifice a little bit of efficiency to be more flexible. This is true of the chloroplasts as well, and the other membrane-bound organelles. Eukaryotes are more efficient, but they're locked into how they do things. Bacteria and archaea, less efficient, more options as to how they do things. So that's kind of a trade-off between efficiency and flexibility. Now, let's talk about viruses. Viruses are the worst. All they are nucleic acids surrounded by protein. And that protein usually has some kind of shape or some type of ability to drill into cell walls or past cell membranes. And what that virus is trying to do is get its nucleic acids into the cell so that the cell's ribosomes can read those nucleic acids. And those ribosomes will start making virus proteins instead of the normal proteins that these cells want them to make. And so that's viruses hijacking the cell. Now, once those virus proteins are in that cell, they're going to do whatever the virus chemical reactions are. So that's usually make more viruses, but can also be destructive. And they'll just keep doing that over and over and over again until the cell literally fills with virus and then pops open. That's one thing the virus can do. Another thing the virus can do is go dormant. Now, this is only for some types of viruses, but they can directly inject their DNA into the chromosomes of the host cell, and then they'll just wait a while, and then when the cell is doing its normal stuff, it may replicate some of that virus DNA or start reading some of that virus DNA and making viral proteins. So either way, viruses are bad. Now, one last thing, this model is inaccurate. It's really cartoony, and the color coding is so that we can keep track of what's what. It doesn't have anything to do with the colors of cells. But there's something wrong, and that is the relative sizes. It turns out that these sizes are not the normal. For the most part, eukaryotes are large. For the most part, bacteria and archaea are rather small. And let's think about this. A virus is just nucleic acids surrounded by protein. That's like smaller than most organelles. So there we go. That is our more accurate relative sizes. Eukaryotes tend to be very big cells, though there are some small eukaryote cells. And prokaryotes, bacteria and archaea, tend to be much smaller, though there are large prokaryote cells. And viruses tend to be teeny tiny because they're just nucleic acids surrounded by a protein. And so there we have it. This is the accurate size representation of these cell types. I hope this helps. Struggle well.